All crops need water to grow, but in many parts of the world, the land is flooded for a long time. Some innovative farmers in Bangladesh have found a clever solution. They make floating garden beds of rotting vegetation that serve as compost. These beds are able to float on lakes, rivers, or on seasonal bodies of water, thus making it possible to grow crops on water. In this video, we will learn how to make a floating garden with water hyacinth. But let us first hear about the benefits of floating gardens.
এই দেশটা তো জলাশয় দেশ জল আসার পরে কিভাবে কাজ করা যায় বাঁচে থাকা যায় কিভাবে ফসল
As our land remains underwater during the rainy season, our ancestors were already thinking of ways to produce crops in order to survive. They invented the floating garden by using crop residues. We do not need any chemical fertilizers or pesticides because the floating bed is fertile by nature.
কীটনাশকগুলো ওই যে সারগুলো এগুলো ব্যবহার করার প্রয়োজনে আসে না
It is great to see that farmers can get high yields and quality produce without using any chemicals. Before starting to make a floating garden, select an area where there is plenty of water hyacinth during the rainy season. You can build a floating garden anywhere where the water is at least 1 meter deep, as the plant bed needs to be 1 meter thick. Make the floating garden where it will not get in the way of any boats. You need a boat, a long bamboo pole, and a stick with a hook to pull together the water hyacinth. Now, take your boat to the place where you want to make the floating garden. Place the long bamboo pole onto the water hyacinth. You can also use any other strong light wood. Pull the water hyacinth from both sides of the bamboo towards the bamboo pole and press the plants together with your feet, standing on it to make a compact plant bed. Place the leaves of the water hyacinth towards the center with the roots facing upwards. This will help to decompose the leaves faster and keep the plant mass together. Keep adding new layers of water hyacinth until the raft is strong enough to bear your weight and you can walk on it easily without getting your feet wet. Ensure that the raft does not tilt. Now, remove the bamboo pole from the bottom of the raft so you can reuse it. Leave the mass of water hyacinth to settle and shrink a little. After 7 to 10 days, add 1 more load of water hyacinth onto the raft. The floating bed is now almost ready.
If the bed is too thin, plants will not grow well. But you should not make a thick bed in one day either, as the plants will also not grow well. You need to make one layer first, then let it decompose for up to 10 days, and only then add a second layer.
At the same time, as you make your floating garden, start growing your vegetable seedlings, as floating gardens may be far from home. Grow the seedlings where you can give them the necessary attention.
Ducks and rats can eat up the seeds. That is why we produce seedling balls in our houses.
ওই ধাপগুলো আনার পরে আমরা দেখা যাচ্ছে পুরুষদের সাথে সাথে নৌকার থেকে তুলে বাড়ির আঙ্গিনা এক সাইডে রাখি।
We
রাখার
put
পরে
the
ওই
compost
ধাপগুলো
balls
যখন
in
জলটা
lines,
ধরে যায়,
as
জলটা
seedlings
ধরে
will
গেলে
be damaged
তখন
by
আমরা
heavy
টেমা
rain.
বাঁধি। টেমা
We
বাঁধিয়ে
make a
বীজ
tent-like
বীজ দিয়ে
cover from
এক
woven
লাইনে
reeds.
সারি সারি ওই টেমাগুলো বসাই। বসানোর পরে দেখা যাচ্ছে যে অনেক বৃষ্টি খালি ওই টেমাগুলোয় ক্ষতি হবে প্রচুর পরিমাণ। তখন আমরা সইর
When there
মতো
is
তৈরি
heavy
করি।
rain, we cover the
চাদরটা দিয়ে আর
seedlings.
কি সইর মতো
But
তৈরি করি
when
যাতে
the sun
চাদর দিয়ে
is out,
ঢাকিয়ে রাখা যায়
we open the
বৃষ্টিতে।
tents,
ঢাকিয়ে
so
রাখি
the
যখন
seedlings
দেখা যাচ্ছে
grow
প্রচুর
well.
পরিমাণ বৃষ্টি তখন ঢাকিয়ে রাখি, কিন্তু যখন দেখা যাচ্ছে যে রোদ উঠছে তখন একটু সূর্যের তাপ লাগাইলে ওই বীজটা ভালো গজাবে, তখন আবার রোদের সময় উদ্লো করে দিই।
To make compost balls, collect rotten water hyacinth from the previous year's floating beds. Leave the rotten water hyacinth in the courtyard for a day or two to drain any water. Remove weeds and large pieces of plant from the compost. Press a handful of compost into round balls and make a tent with your thumb. Put in a few vegetable seeds and cover them with a little compost. Place the balls in lines and cover them with a woven polythene sack to protect them from heavy rain and sun. After 2 to 3 days, the seeds will germinate and you can remove the polythene cover. To protect the seedlings from chickens and ducks, it is best to fence the area. Also, make a roof to protect the seedlings from the rain. After 10 days, the seedlings are strong enough to be transplanted to the floating bed. Carry the compost balls with the seedlings on your boat to the floating bed. On the floating bed, create planting pits every 25 centimeters by chopping the top layer of water hyacinths into loose fibers. Place some compost into these pits and add the balls with seedlings. This will make it easier for the young roots to grow. After 15 days, when the plant grows new branches and becomes bushy, it can easily fall over. Cut the decomposing edges of the floating bed and place this around the base of each plant to keep it straight. This will also add nutrients. Water the bed if there is continuous sunshine and the bed looks dry. Now, let us see what vegetables and spices we can grow on the floating bed. Farmers in Gopalganj cultivate okra in 2 rows. In between, they grow another vegetable like cucumber or gourd. Taro can be cultivated on the border of the bed as it likes water. Some innovative farmers connect 2 floating beds with trellises made of bamboo and jute rope to grow yard-long beans. For some crops, you don't need to grow seedlings in compost balls. To grow turmeric, you can plant the cuttings directly on the floating bed. Cover the whole bed with another layer of compost from last year's floating bed and plant turmeric on it. Another way to earn extra income is by broadcasting red amaranth seeds in between the turmeric. Red amaranth can be harvested within 15 days, well before the turmeric plants are ready for harvest. As with all crops, there are, of course, some challenges. And for floating vegetable gardens, rats are the main one. But the benefits really weigh up against the work and challenges. Floating beds are a good way to use water hyacinth, which is a problem in many bodies of water. And apart from being able to grow crops on flooded land, the decomposed water hyacinths provide a great natural fertilizer for the winter season. At the end of the rains, carefully move the floating bed to shallow water.
জল আস্তে 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 কমতে থাকলো।
After the water goes down gradually, the bed will eventually touch the ground. At this time, we uproot the okra plants.
কি করি আমরা ওই গাছটারে তুলে ফেলি ঢেঁড়স গাছটাকে।
After the flood water has receded from the land, break the bed into pieces and spread these over cropland as organic fertilizer.
ওই বেডগুলো পাড়াইয়া মিশাইয়া ওর উপর দিয়ে আমরা গাছ যেমন ওলকপি
Once the rotten water hyacinths are spread out, we plant cabbage, broccoli, tomato, eggplant, chili, and leafy vegetables. We do not need any chemical fertilizer, as the decomposed water hyacinth is our fertilizer.
বেডগুলো বিছিয়ে না দিলে আমাদের সার ব্যবহার করা লাগবে, কিন্তু আমাদের হচ্ছে কোনো সার ব্যবহার করা লাগবে না।
Keep some of the compost to prepare the compost balls next year. Now, let us summarize what we have learned. Select a location where water during the rainy season is at least 1 meter deep and where there is plenty of water hyacinth. Place a bamboo pole on the water hyacinth and pull water hyacinth with a stick towards the pole. Leave the mass to settle and shrink for about a week. Deposit more water hyacinth on the bed. After 3 days, you can plant the compost balls with vegetable seedlings. Add a little compost in each planting pit when placing the balls with seedlings. Water the floating bed if it is dry. While you can grow many valuable crops on a floating garden, you will at the same time get plenty of natural fertilizer to grow your next crops. Double benefits make every farmer smile.